Thank you. Thank you.
的问候，我们已经向主席报告，感谢您的友好问候。We have conveyed your friendly message to our
Thank you. Thank you.
These are just criminal individuals, not registered anywhere, and they are doing their work freely. So if you take a deliberate action to mobilize the leadership in northern Kenya, so that this information, because I also understand that in some areas, people hardly open up and give information to security agencies. But with this information that is coming and is very alarming, it is important to have that and move. And secondly, it is also important that our intelligence service, if the cells are around Isli that are recruiting, this is an urban area. It is very easy to track and disable these individuals instead of just letting them run amok and mess up with the security situation of our country. Thank you.
Chair, when you listen to these stories from the honorable members, it is a very weighty issue. And when I see us, I think we need to look at some deliberate measures on how to curb this problem. My concern is about the news we normally get in the newspapers and all this, that some people have traveled from Moyale and they are arrested in Isiolo. So how do they come to Isiolo? There are roadblocks all over. So we need to know, because there's a lot of money involved. It's a lot of money. It's actually business. So when I see us, I think we need to address this issue from the source of problem, particularly the agents who are here. And then also, we need to look at our police, our security officers, particularly those who have stayed in a place for a very long time. So they get used to these things. I mean, it's business for them also. So we need to be changing officers who are in these areas so that they can be able to, those who are there are not used to these things, so that we are able to curb this problem. So that is one of the problems that we need to get. I know unemployment is a serious thing. Of course, it is worldwide, but we need to really be serious as security people, address these cartels. Actually, they are cartels, which we need to address, and address it seriously. NIS must play a bigger role, because they know these people. So that we will be able to arrest them, get them arrested, lock them in, take them to court. So, Chair, I think that's an issue which we need to address. Thank you.
Chair, thank you. I just want to sympathize with the police. I sympathize with the police because, like Mheshimiwa Waitan says, a girl leaves her child with a sister and says she's going to the market, yet she knows she's already made plans to go to Libya, etc. But now it doesn't become the girls' problem. It becomes the police's problem. So indeed, the police really have a heavy responsibility. But I think on our part as leaders, we must also go on a sensitization program. If we know that is happening, we also must take responsibility and sensitize the people in the community that this is happening, and don't allow yourself to be fooled. If then they allow themselves to be fooled, the police will help in looking for them. But it's to curb that program, the problem, it will not just be a police problem solely. You know, we must sensitize, and it's upon us to actually do that sensitization. Because otherwise, the police cannot be everywhere all the time when this young girl is talking to this man on a Facebook, whatever, you know. So we also have to play our part. The police, we know we don't have enough, and we know they don't have enough to go around the population. But as leaders, for me, listening to these stories, I'm like, hey, even the police, I sympathize with them without saying that they shouldn't do their job. But we as leaders, we can also take an active role and go on a sensitization program in our communities. That might also help some of these girls, because many of them are naive and they are just looking at the hope or the promise of a better life. But if you sensitize them, probably they'll think twice before they fall into those traps.
So, yes, I don't know whether majority were just comment. Maybe the vice wanted to add something.
Thank you very much, Waziri. I think I want to say that this is much bigger than you. It is about the society. When a Muslim girl going to secondary school or even primary school goes to the market, it is not the tradition of the Muslim, because she must be escorted by the brother, the father, or the mother, so long as she is not married. So the first drawing board, we must go back to the society to really have, we must restore some discipline and order in the society. Secondly, this issue of human trafficking, it is linked to drug trafficking, it is linked to arms trafficking, it is also linked to terrorism. Last night I was driving from Marsabit, and I stopped at 6 roadblocks, together with one at Aicha's post, where we have the multi-agency. And every of these askaris are going to inspect, they are going to check the IDs. But they could have just flagged me to just go through, but as courtesy, and also I wanted to observe, I stopped and I told them I want to wait. But in the process, what I have come to learn is drugs like Bang leave Ethiopia, they pass through Moyale, then they come all the way to Turbi, to Marsabit, to Laisamis, to Achas Post, Isiolo, and then it finds itself in Nairobi. Then you ask yourself, what is the purpose of all these roadblocks? Then it means something is not adding up. That so long as our security agencies, there's complicity in them doing their work, then we are unlikely to resolve the conundrum of what is happening in our country. So for that reason, really my request to you is, recently there's this case of people going to Vietnam and Thailand, Cambodia. What we really want to see is people before court. The media brings all this drama, and then it dies down. But people are in business, people who are doing this. So unless people are before court, and I'm told most of these traffickers are people who hold big money. So they will go to the police station and they excuse themselves to come back another day, not to even to record a statement. So we need to close the loop in terms of who are these people who are involved, so that everybody must have their day before justice. A lady from Mandera is going to give 3 million. Where do you think that money is going to come from? It comes from politicians. Will these politicians have this money? Most likely not. They borrow from all of you. That, oh, please, you send me something. Eventually, it puts the country in a lot of financial difficulties, because that could just be one case that is before us. Which are these many cases that we don't know about? The other thing is this community policing. Unless we have a very effective community policing, so that an incident happens, the child disappears for 2 hours. The community around there must know. The police must know, so that there is alert. But once it becomes normal, disappearance becomes normal, then I think you are unlikely from where you sit to enforce the law or to direct the police in one way or another. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I totally agree with the comments, and I appreciate the comments from the members. This thing of human trafficking, as you know, is a serious global problem, okay? And we have laws here, we have institutions globally. It manifests itself in, in very different forms, some of which are very subtle. For example, if you're talking about the people who are going to Myanmar, Vietnam, and all those other countries, ordinarily, they will just go through the normal recruitment agencies, and then, you know, the process is processed, and they're saying people are going there, they are going to do official jobs, and then when they reach there, they are used for sexual exploitation and other things. So it's also important that we look at these things holistically in mapping out, for example, the labor agencies. We need to have few registered non-labor migration agencies. We also need to make sure that the society is aware of this, what is trafficking, you know, and you know, before someone allows their child to go out of the country, they should be able to know where they're going, which job, where is the application letter, and so forth. But again, they also take advantage of illiteracy. That's why they go for the marginalized areas where literacy levels are very low. I don't know. This is just off my head. I don't want to be a roadside declaration kind of a person. But I think at some point, like we have established other special units, perhaps a special police unit for human trafficking will have to be established at some point. It might be actually necessary, so that even if it is not a fully-fledged, that it is all over, but a smaller unit that thinks through, coordinates the assesses the patterns, receives the intelligence report, and works with the officers on the ground. It might be necessary to have a special unit to deal with human trafficking. We already have a unit that deals with the anti-narcotics unit. Again, we have already had a lengthy discussion with NACADA. We think that NACADA's proposal is that this anti-narcotic unit needs to be strengthened. The IG is working on how best it can be made stronger. In his own words, in the words of the IG, he would like to see it to be at the same level with anti-terror unit, because also narcotics and drugs are becoming a problem with us. So in the coming days, we will be seeing a more bolstered, strengthened anti-narcotic unit. And I think that emanating from this discussion, a thinking around human trafficking unit might be necessary to confront the new challenges that we are facing as a country. As you can see, the cases I read here go back to 2020, 2019. You know, it's been an old case. And then, as Vice Chair said, it's linked also to terrorism, among others. As you all know, that in Marsabit the other day, there was a major operation in Marsabit and Isiolo to dismantle cartel, drug cartel there, led by the OLF. And in the process, we realized that there are also elements of Al-Shabaab that are part of it, because they were involving themselves in acts of mining at the same time human trafficking and drugs. And we are discussing about Kenyans getting lost, but we also know that these characters were using Kenya as a route for trafficking persons from Ethiopia through those routes that have been mentioned, and sometimes also through Garissa to Tana River, then crossing Savo East towards Taita Taveta and to Tanzania in some cases, or through Kwale to Tanzania, or through the sea. Because there are many, many sea points that are unmanned. So these are challenges that we must confront, and perhaps, as you have said, it is something we need to think through how best we can make it bigger and intergovernmental in nature, so that then if there's that unit for anti-trafficking, they will then have the human trafficking unit can also work together with the labor agencies to monitor the trends. I can also not emphasize the fact that most members here have said community awareness and civic awareness is extremely important. It's important for us as leaders to voice these issues continuously and to ask religious leaders in every area as we come to use the Friday prayers, Sunday, Saturday prayers to bring awareness. You'll be surprised, Mr. Chair, that this is not just confined to the north. Some of these recruitment agencies traffic people. And cases there are even a number of cases from Kisii and other parts of the country, Nairobi, of course, in the people we have in Myanmar, Vietnam, and Saudi Arabia and other parts of the world. So it is something that we must continue labor migration without giving it a bad name through human trafficking. And that is, we must separate the chaff from the wheat. I think we take most of these as suggestions from the members on how to make things better. Yes, I agree with Honorable P.C. Sigay that Ambassador Sigay that this thing of officers overstaying in a place should come to an end. And again, based on my recent visit to Coast, there was a strong recommendation from all the police officers, OCSs who are there, that it was also dehumanizing to have somebody operate somewhere in Tarasa, as we were told by, or in a place of operation for more than 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You know, we were being given, Mr. Chair, even cases where a police officer, because he's been posted to Tana River, he thought that he's going to serve there for 5 years, then move to another place like that, or posted to Mandera border. It's an operation area he thought he was going to do for some time, then come to another place and there will be changes. They even decide to marry for the time being in that area, in the hope that in future he will now go and marry properly the way he wanted. And so it's it's very personal to the well-being of these officers who are serving in different places. We have agreed with National Police Service that in the next 3 months, all transfers must be done. Anybody who has served more than 3 years, there must be changes across the country, so that somebody who has been in an operation area can go to a different part of the country that doesn't have the challenges they are facing in the corner they are in. And then leaders and so forth. I think roadblocks, Vietnam, yeah, all these are the issues. We take them as suggestions to improve our response on these issues. I think I have a last question, Mr. Chair, which is from Honorable Kakai Bissau, which is question number 9. There are other 3 questions. I don't see the honorable members here. You will guide me after that, but let me first go through the one for Honorable Kakai Bissau, which is a statement regarding the disappearance and tragic death of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Bukhala. Honorable Chairperson, the honorable member sought this information in 4 parts, and I'd like to respond as follows. First, part 1, steps taken on the disappearance of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Bukhala and actions taken by Kilimani and Kabete Police Station to investigate the case. Mr. Chair, the disappearance of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala was initially reported at Ruto Police Station and subsequently referred to DCI Kabete, who took over the investigations. As such was initiated on 8th of January 2025. The deceased's motor vehicle registration number KCU 931V was found abandoned in the Ruto area. The scene was processed and documented, and the crime scene investigation team conducted a forensic examination. The vehicle was towed to DCI Dagoretti as an exhibit. Number 2, progress of investigation. Mr. Chair, the scene was processed and documented by the crime scene and investigation team from DCI Dagoretti. Relevant samples were collected for analysis and subsequently submitted to the government chemist in the lab reference number provided for, which is A142/225. On 11th of January 2025, a mutilated body of an unidentified female adult was discovered from Gataka Forest. As a result, the DCI Homicide Directorate took over the investigation from DCI Kabete on 13 January 2025. The DNA analysis was conducted, established at 99% maternity match between the discovered body and the deceased mother, confirming the victim's identity. The toxicology report is currently pending. Report on the whereabouts of Mr. Joseph Philip Orwa as a person of interest and a key suspect, and the findings of the police on his connection with the disappearance of Ms. Buhala. The suspect, Joseph Philip Orwa, was the last person seen with the deceased on 5th of January 2025 at about 1400 hours at his residence in Ongatarongai, which is the approximate time the deceased's phone went off. Further investigation revealed that the suspect was using 2 mobile numbers, both of which were switched off shortly after the murder. The suspect's mobile number was later traced along Kikuyu Road at around 600 hours, which aligns with the same time the motor vehicle was abandoned within the same area. Investigation established a link between the suspect and the deceased motor vehicle, tracking its movement from Ongatarongai to Ngong and finally to the Ruto area, where the vehicle was disposed of. The suspect was captured on CCTV footage and multiple petrol stations along this route on the night of 6th January 2025. The DCI investigation team visited the suspect's home in Oyugis and its environs and documented substantial evidence. Efforts are in place to trace the suspect's whereabouts and subsequently arraign him in court to face appropriate charges. Measures in place to support families of missing persons during investigations, including coordination between different police stations and the role of forensic technology in identifying and tracking movement of potential suspects. Upon receiving reports of missing persons, the police immediately commenced investigations utilizing forensic technology to trace the victim's last known movements and identify potential suspects. Throughout the investigation, the police keep the victim's family informed at every stage, providing regular updates and necessary support. Once suspects are apprehended, they are arraigned before court of law to answer charges, thus ensuring justice is served. In short, Mr. Chair, the suspect is still at large, but the evidence is overwhelmingly pointing at him. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, CS, for that comprehensive feedback. The bottom line is the people of Masaba in Community constituency would like to know who killed Lydia. And you've